In the headlines tonight, security agencies tasked to halt operations of militia groups before November polls.
Vice President Mr. Arthur opens GBC Leadership Center.
And on the foreign front, body parts found in the Mediterranean Sea by teams searching for missing Egypt airplane. Everyone, welcome to the studios of GBC24 and GTV here in the capital. This is News Hour. You're welcome. My name is Selike Makola Shepalu.
And my name is Akmene Avo Ajaja. Many thanks for joining us for the news. In the details, the European Union has asked the security agencies to halt the operations of militia or vigilante groups before Ghana goes to the polls in November.
The EU ambassador to Ghana, Mr. William Hanna, said the negative records of such groups from other African countries show that they are a potential threat to a successful and peaceful poll.
All eyes will soon be turned on the 2016 election. Let me emphasize, first of all, it's your election, not ours. You vote. You will decide the next government, and we will work with the government that Ghana chooses. Our support is not for a party, it's for democracy in Ghana. I would then echo the appeals that are being made to the leadership of the political parties to engage actively for disbanding the so-called vigilante or militia groups that could put peace at risk. There are many people calling for peace, and we would echo those calls. It's so important that the voters in Ghana would get the chance to exercise their rights, each of them, without any form of intimidation or violence.
And in other news, the regional office of the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, is resident on the GIMPA campus here in Accra. The center is to offer practical Master of Arts courses in development. Opening the center, Vice President Mr. Arthur described the Obama initiative as an ivory tower that will not only spruce Africa's development-oriented leaders, but also address critical need of Africa's leadership crisis. Nuto Bibini Nuto has more on this.
The Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, was a vision born by U.S. President Barack Obama in his quest to provide a sustainable solution to the leadership crisis in Africa. The initiative is supposed to have regional offices across the African continent, and the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, is home to the West African Center, with the rest found in Kenya, South Africa, and Senegal. The program attracts young people from civil society, entrepreneurship, and public service with online services to participants who cannot be physically present here in Accra.
This initiative, the YALI, is a belief that we secure the future if we invest in developing the talent of the next generation. We are not here just merely to appreciate the structure, glass and steel you can replicate everywhere, but to demonstrate our confidence, the confidence we have in the future of Africa, the youth of our continent.
The YALI project is an agreement between GIMPA and the U.S. government spanning 4 years with a $25 million budget.
The network of future leaders being nurtured here will make a lasting impact not only in developing our country, but also in fostering good relations within the ECOWAS and other countries.
The Young African Leadership Initiative is a subtle way of confronting the African leadership crisis head-on. Toby Beningto, GBC24, Accra.
Let's move to the northern part of the country now. Africates, a civil society organization, has been working to ensure that children in northern Ghana are afforded their rights to life, education, health and standard of living as enshrined in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Key among the achievements of Africates is the declaration to end the spirit child phenomenon, in which newborns with infirmities are considered a taboo and killed in the Kasana Nankana West District. The director of Africates, Mr. Nicholas Kuma, has dedicated the success story of the organization to the local people.
Afrikids is an award-winning child rights and community development organization working in northern Ghana to alleviate child suffering and poverty. In the last 10 years, Afrikids has been working to ensure that every child under the age of 21 in northern Ghana is afforded his or her rights as outlined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. They have worked to end the killings of children born with disabilities and prevented children in northern Ghana from suffering violence, abuse, neglect or exploitation by ensuring they have a home which is safe, loving and conducive to their well-being and development. At a ceremony to mark 10 years of what they term bringing smiles to little faces, there was pomp and pageantry. The director of Afrikids, Mr. Nicholas Kuma, said Afrikids has so far been able to change the lives of thousands of children by helping them to go to school.
We have supported 1,500 children in tertiary institutions. Over 1,000 children, young people have also been supported through our vocational skills training. These young persons are currently supporting their families and society after acquiring a skill either through formal or informal education. In addition to the above, a total of 9,475 out-of-school children have been given the opportunity to go back to school through the Complementary Basic Education Program.
Afrikids has empowered parents in northern Ghana to meet the rights of their children by creating their own financial security and receiving family planning and care advice. Various speakers from different organizations gave testimonies of the work that Afrikids has been doing over the years. The Upper East Regional Minister, Mr. Albert Abongo, encouraged more organizations to follow in the footsteps of Afrikids in order to help reduce poverty and child rights abuses in the region.
I want to plead with stakeholders to change or modify traditions that infringe on the laws of the country, and especially those that affect the dignity of children who are the future leaders of this country. Afrikids Ghana has done its best to abolish the spirit child phenomena in the Serugo area.
To sustain its successes, especially in the area of child rights protection, Afrikids has established child rights clubs in schools to educate children on their rights and to empower them to ensure they are met. It is also providing platforms for children and young people to be given a voice in matters relating to them.
She cry. She's not crying. She like that. Because you want to mind, she like that.
Abdulhai Mumin, GBC24, Bogatanga.
From the northern part of the country, we move down the middle belt of the country. A policeman has been killed at a hotel in Denjamunsioso near Kumasi in the Ashanti region. The policeman, who has been identified as Corporal Essel, was killed when gunmen in masks engaged the police in a shootout at the hotel last night. Another person was shot but did not die and is receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. The police in the Ashanti region say anyone with information on the whereabouts of the suspects will be given 5,000 Ghana cedis.
The Judicial Service Staff Association, JUSAG, has embarked on a nationwide strike over delays in the implementation of consolidated salaries and allowances of its members. The indefinite strike, which began on Friday, brought proceedings at the court to a halt. The premises of the High Court remained quiet all through Friday, with the courtrooms and other offices virtually empty.
Lawyers and their clients, some of whom had traveled long distances to have their cases heard or to transact some businesses at the High Court, were disappointed as they were not even allowed to enter into the main court building.
The gate is locked. And it's very disappointing. I'm having a case and then I need fairness.
So far as the workers are doing strike, I don't know what to do.
A lawyer, Ni Ashinikwe, told GBC24 that despite the fact that his work was affected by the strike, he was of the view that the government should give the striking workers what they are entitled to.
Just this morning, I was ready, poised for action, when I saw at the back page of the Daily Graphic that there is a strike, a general strike, all over the country of TUSAC members. I think that if they are asking for what they are entitled to, it is in the right direction.
The Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana embarked on a similar strike last month, which lasted for a day and was called off after assurances from the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations that their concerns would be addressed.
The University of Electronic Science and Technology of China is partnering a number of tertiary institutions in the country to train students to be better equipped for the job market. Memorandum of understanding to that effect has been signed here in the capital.
University of Electronic Science and Technology of China offers English structured undergraduate program for international students in 4 courses. These are software engineering, electronic information engineering, computer science and technology, and business administration. Qualified graduates are awarded diploma and bachelor degree, and the minimum study period is 4 years. The school also offers postgraduate courses for international students. Since 2010, 111 Ghanaians study in the postgraduate program of the School of Management and Economics. Out of this figure, 61 are still studying in China, while 50 have graduated. The Director of Technical Production of GBC, Mr. Oscar Incho, said GBC Radio, Television and Engineering Training Schools is seeking to partner UESTC to offer effective training to its students.
One of the areas in which education is having a missing link in this country is that people do not do competency-based training. And then they come out with papers, but it doesn't mean anything to the industry. Everybody is complaining in various areas of work. And GBC would want to make a difference. And with their exposure, and then their access to modern technology and what is happening in the modern world, we believe that the Chinese universities can support us.
The 2016 Education Fair showcased the university to the Ghanaian prospective students. A representative of UESTC in Ghana, Mr. Kofi Nkum Enchel, said 400 student applicants attended the fair to be examined for possible admission. A memorandum of understanding was also signed between the university and various institutions in the country. These include Ho Polytechnic, Sunyani Polytechnic, GIMPA, University of Education. The Director of Cooperation and Exchange at UESTC, Professor Julia Dieng, said the Chinese government is partnering the universities to award full or partial scholarship or discount of tuition fees to international students.
We now also hope that more bachelor students can come, but bachelor students, as it is the practice in all the other countries, it is a self-funded program. So students pay, but you know, in China, the tuition is not very expensive. But by the end of one academic year, about 15% of the students, again, they can be awarded by the scholarship based on their academic excellency.
The principal of the Kumasi campus of the University of Education, Professor Reynolds Okain, said lecturers of partnering institutions will receive training in China.
The Governing Council of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has appointed Professor Kwesi Obridanso as the new Vice-Chancellor of the university. His appointment takes effect from the 1st of August this year and will run till July 31, 2020. Professor Obridanso will take over from Professor William Otu Ellis, whose tenure ends in July. Professor Obridanso is currently the provost of the College of Sciences at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
A family and sexual reproductive expert, Dr. Joanna Nekwe, has appealed to the government to make room for private ownership of some educational institutions as practiced some years ago in this country. Dr. Nekwe asserted that such a system has already been tried and tested to produce excellent, quality and disciplined students.
Years ago, parents pride themselves of educating their children at mission schools, the reason being that such schools are not only noted for their excellent and quality students, but discipline. Students from these schools are also engaged in extracurricular activities such as sports, beading, weaving, jewelry, and community services. With the current takeover of mission schools by government, some parents prefer to send their children to private schools. Though expensive compared with government schools, the drive is to get better results for their wards. Most of these children end up at the senior high schools formerly owned and run by missionaries. A sexual reproductive expert, Dr. Joanna Nekwe, said the private sector cannot be sidelined in the educational system. Touching on Ghana's vocational technical institutions, she was of the view that there is too much emphasis on the arts than vocational technical courses.
Despite all these efforts, we have some very critical challenges in our education system. For example, after 59 years of independence, I have already said, only 14.7% of the population 15 years and above have secondary or higher education. At each stage, if you remember the figures I was mentioning, at each stage, you could see the drop. From 4 million primary school, then it went to 1.4 million at the junior JSS level, and then it came to about 800 at the SS level, 800,000 at the SS level. By the time you get to the tertiary, it is just about 300,000. Do you see the drop? So what it means is that a huge number of our young people are not getting the required excellence in education.
A representative from the Ministry of Education, Felicia Boachi-Yadom, commended the role Ebri Girls has played in nurturing and promoting quality girl-child education. She added that education is a right and government will not deny any child of such. The chair for the National Media Commission, Mr. Jana Penton, said the onus lies on all stakeholders to yield the needed results.
The test of education and its efficiency is let's look around us. If we are happy with what we see, then our education is good. If we are not happy with what we see, then we have failed. It is not in the results. Education is for a purpose, and she walked us through the history. The colonial government educated people for a purpose. The missionaries did for a purpose.
Other speakers, including a renowned educationist, Dr. Christian Nuyama, entreated parents to instill discipline into their children.
And here we'll take a break. You're still watching News Hour.
We'll be back shortly with business. Good evening, it's time to talk business. My name is Esther Edu Ohumewu. Talo is reporting that the first oil from the Trinidad, Anyira and Ntome fields will flow by August. The TERN project continues to make excellent progress and is over 90% complete. The project remains within budget and on schedule for first oil between July and August 2016.
In May 2013, Ghana approved the plan of development for the TERN fields, which was started by Talu. The TERN field is the second major operated deepwater development project in the country after the Jubilee fields. Similar to Jubilee, the 10 fields development includes the use of FPSO, which has a facility production capacity of 80,000 barrels of oil per day and will be tied to the subsea infrastructure across the field. The 10 cluster development consists of 3 discoveries in the deep water tunnel block, Trineboa, Enyura and Tome, offshore Ghana in water depths ranging from 1,000 to 2,000 meters. Progress report shows that the 10 project continues is over 90% complete, remains within budget and on schedule for first oil production in August 2016. The operators say to date all the key milestones of the project have been met, including the arrival of the FPSO Professor John Evanzata Mills from Singapore. Talu Oil say the project will cost about $5 billion. The managing director of Talu Ghana, Mr. Charles Darko, says that mooring operations were complete and the vessel was being connected to the subsea infrastructure via risers and umbilical, and first production is on schedule.
10 is also progressed very well. As Aiden said, it was a good decision to get that plan of development approved about 3 years ago. And we have actually completed the FPSO conversion. And as you know, it has arrived in Ghana early March. We have hooked it to the ocean floor, so it's permanently moored now. And what we're doing now is commissioning and hooking up the rest of the subsea infrastructure to the vessel through the risers, umbilicals, and whatnot, so that mid-year our target of first oil will be hit.
He said Talu estimates that 10 average annualized production in 2016 would be around 23,000 barrels daily.
The other part of the work that's going on is completing the wells that we need, and that's in motion. And of course, the subsea infrastructure itself has been almost all done, all the fabrications completed, and the hookups are taking place now. So fingers crossed, mid-year, first oil from 10 help grow the business in Ghana as well.
Partners in the block include Talu Oil, the lead operator, which has 49.9%, Cosmos Energy have 18%, Anadakon 18%, Sabria Oil and Gas Holdings 4.05%, and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation also has 10%.
The National Pension Regulatory Authority has organized an education program on the Tier 3 pension scheme for the informal sector at Koforidua, with a call on the sector to join the National Pension Scheme for a secured future.
In 2008, a new pension law was passed by Parliament, paving the way for the implementation of the 3-tier pension scheme. It also replaced the previous Social Security Cap 30 and related schemes. As a result, the National Pension Regulatory Authority (NPRA) was set up to regulate and monitor the operations of the scheme and ensure effective administration of all pensions in the country. The new 3-tier scheme consists of 2 mandatory and a voluntary scheme for all employees in both private and public sectors. The second tier is an occupational pension scheme, mandatory for all formal sector employees, but privately managed and designed primarily to give contributors high lump sum benefits than previously available under the SNIT pension scheme. The third tier is a voluntary provident fund and personal pension scheme supported by tax incentives. The Corporate Affairs Manager of the National Pension Regulatory Authority (NPRA), Mr. Emmanuel Ewuku Dagbadu, said the purpose of the program is to sensitize those in the informal sector of the importance of the National Pension Scheme. He said it serves as an investment which would enable them sustain their livelihoods.
The National Pensions Regulatory Authority is set up to regulate and supervise all the corporate trustees to make sure that nobody run away with your money. The system is such a way that you don't even pay the money straight to the corporate trustee. You pay the money to the bank. Then the corporate trustee will ask the bank to invest the money. And the money in the bank is also separated from the operational capital of the bank. So even if the bank is liquidated, or is bankrupt, they cannot use pension money to pay.
There were similar educational messages from the Penn Trust and the Gold Coast Trust Services.
Closing trading activities for the week, the cedi appreciated by 2 pesos against the euro. The local currency, however, maintained its value against the dollar and the pound sterling. On the commodity board, light crude, gold and cocoa all increased in price. The insurance news is up next. Welcome to the insurance news brought to you by SIC Live. The National Insurance Commission has set up a committee to come out with clear modalities on how to make some insurance products compulsory in Ghana. The Commissioner for Insurance, Madam Lydia Laribabawa, said the mandate of the committee is to find out how products such as group life insurance, employers' liability insurance, or workmen's compensation, among others, can be made compulsory insurance in Ghana.
One that readily comes to mind is group life insurance, such that employers will provide that kind of cover for their employees. And then workman's compensation is compulsory, but the insurance of that is not compulsory. So we're trying to probably get government to make the insurance of that also compulsory. And when we get the report from the committee, then we can engage government and the employing public so that we see what kind of, but we know that it's happening now. That, for instance, group life insurance is compulsory in Nigeria. So it's workman's compensation. The insurance of workman's compensation is also compulsory. So when we are able to get these to be implemented in our country, then we can increase the level of insurance.
And that's all for business. Most grateful for your time.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to come your way with the health segment of the news, brought to you by FPAC Blows Your Pain Away. I'm Evans Champon. A 40-bed maternity block has been inaugurated at the Esikado Government Hospital in the Western Region. The facility is expected to improve maternal and child health. Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur inaugurated the facility and encouraged private businesses to continue to work with the government to provide the needed infrastructure in communities in which they operate.
The Esikado Government Hospital serves Esikado and more than 10 surrounding communities, including Kojokrum, Isipong and Mimpasem. Before Talu Ghana Limited came to the aid of the hospital, the Fiankwanta Government Hospital was the only facility where pregnant women received maternal health care. The new 40-bed capacity maternity block for Isikado Government Hospital has a theatre, a mini laboratory, a pharmacy and an outpatient department. The facility is expected to serve about 81,000 patients and deliver about 1,500 babies annually. It will also provide specific support to the obstetrics and gynecology department. In partnership with Project Cure, a US-based NGO, Talo Ghana Limited is also procuring essential hospital equipment to make the maternity block operational. Yomahin of the Isikado traditional area, Nana Kwabdan Kitia, commended Talo Ghana for the support.
Please, let us find a way at the assembly level, at the metropolitan level, to see how we can sort this thing, this particular thing in terms of maintenance.
The Western Regional Minister, Mr. Paul Evans Adu, encouraged Talo and other companies to collaborate with the Metropolitan Assembly to build more facilities in the region. Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur called for an all-hands-on-deck approach to solving challenges in communities.
Partnership. Institutions, corporations, individuals, communities, partnering with government to help in the development and to help raise the standards of our people. And to continue with the partnership, I decided when I was asked to come that I would also make a little donation. They are usable items, and I hope that they will be looked after well. I also hope that they will be put to good use. And I also hope that they will bring smiles to the faces of the many women who will come here.
She presented laptops to children who staged a play to depict the responsibility of the government and its citizens. She also presented some medical equipment to the Isikado Government Hospital.
Now, the government of Ghana and the government of the Netherlands have intensified their cooperation in the fight against tuberculosis and have rolled out a project accelerating tuberculosis case detection in Ghana. The agreement between the two governments was signed by the Minister for Health, Mr. Alex Segbefia, and the Dutch ambassador to Ghana, Hans Doctor.
Tuberculosis is a communicable disease caused by a bacterium which mostly attacks the lungs. According to the 2013 National TB Prevalence Survey, 63,000 people suffer from tuberculosis annually, a bane attributable to the low rate of detection. With early diagnosis and prompt treatment, TB can be cured and controlled. It is to boost the current levels of TB detection that the Health Ministry and the Netherlands government have signed the agreement to roll out the Accelerating Tuberculosis Case Detection Project in Ghana. The Minister for Health, Mr. Alex Segbefia, was confident of the potential outcome of the project to increase the TB detection rate to about 85%.
The case detection rate in Ghana is around 33%, according to WHO figures of 2015. But the treatment success rate is actually 87%. So when it's detected, we actually can cure it, and we have got a very high level of cure for people who are detected with TB.
The ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Hans Doctor, was optimistic that the agreement will enhance healthcare delivery in Ghana. The chief executive of Delft Imaging Systems, Mr. Guido Getz, explained how technologically innovative the equipment for the project are.
We will supply in total 52 systems all over Ghana, and every system is a digital X-ray system, but there's also computer-aided detection for TB on it. So we don't need a local doctor. So the computer actually will see if the image is normal or abnormal. And if it's abnormal, it goes to a specific lab system to define TB or not.
The cost of the project is 21.6 million euros. Ghana will receive 52 digital imaging systems, a combination of fixed units and mobile clinic, as well as IT services.
And still in this segment, the Nurse Anesthesia Training School of Ridge Hospital will soon be upgraded from Advanced Diploma to a Bachelor of Science degree program. The school, which will be affiliated to the University of Cape Coast, is expected to bring up a new crop of professionals who would help to propel Ghana's healthcare system to a higher level. The school has just released 24 anesthetists into the system to assist medical surgeons to perform effective cesarean sections and other surgeries.
The Nurse Anesthesia Training School of Ridge Hospital was established in 2009 at the time the Ridge Hospital was facing severe challenges with the limited services received from anesthetists. The principal of the school, Dr. Evans Nah, said medical surgeons had to queue for long hours for such services before they could perform effective cesarean sections, and this put a lot of pressure and stress on the few anesthetics who had to work for long hours. However, the need to establish the school to complement the efforts of the 3 other training institutions, the Kolebu and Komfanoche teaching hospitals, and the 37 military hospital. The first batch of the anesthetists completed in 2011. The school has so far trained over 140 students who now work in the various health facilities across the country, with a few in Saudi Arabia, China, UK and the US. At the school's 6th graduation ceremony in Accra, 24 students were awarded higher diploma certificates. The students have undergone 18 months of intensive theoretical and practical training in courses including basic and advanced principles of anesthesia, pathophysiology, anatomy and research pharmacology of anesthetics agents. The overall best student is Zakaria Yusuf.
I would make sure I take care of pregnant women, and not only for the labor cases that they come in for cesarean section, but to also attend to them when they come for pain.
The Deputy Minister for Health, Mr. Victor Bampo, encouraged the graduates to lead responsible lives worthy of emulation.
I would like to use this opportunity to appeal to you graduates to strive to change the negative perceptions from the public about health workers by doing your work diligently and humanely.
The graduates pledged to provide professional services to enhance quality health care in the country.
And that wraps up the segment brought to you by FPAC, Blows Your Pain Away. International news follows shortly after the break. Don't go away.
Welcome back. In the international segment, an African Union human rights report has backed calls for an international police force to be sent to Burundi. Last year, the AU's Peace and Security Council proposed an intervention force for the country where there has been political tension since President Pierre Nkurunziza ran for a third term more than a year ago. But African heads of state rolled back on the decision after opposition from Burundi.
About 100 people have been killed by floods and landslides across Ethiopia, according to the UN. At least 20,000 families have been made homeless, while local officials say there are a number of people still missing. Meteorologists have blamed the powerful El Nino weather phenomenon for the country's high rainfall. Aid organizations anticipate continued flooding could displace tens of thousands more. The floods have hampered distribution of vital aid to drought-affected areas. The situation has intensified because more than 10 million people have been forced to rely on aid after the country suffered its worst drought in decades. That's all in the international news. Up next is sports with Theophilus Sampa. We'll be right back.
Let's get active tonight. Good evening. I'm Theophilus Sampa with some sports news. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has joined in the search for a sponsor for the Ghana Premier League. The domestic top flight is without a sponsor after Capital Bank abrogated its deal with the National Football's governing body GFA prior to the start of the season.
Obviously, CB fans coming in!
The 2015-2016 Ghana Premier League is without a sponsor. This is due to the decision by the Capital Bank, formerly First Capital Plus Bank, to abrogate its 5-year deal with the Ghana Football Association GFA prior to the start of the season. Despite this, the season, which is 3 weeks old, has been characterized with entertaining and quality football, massive turn-up at match venues and good publicity, just to mention a few. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has joined in the search, complementing the efforts of the GFA. The sector minister, Nilante van der Poy, has appealed to telecommunication network MTN to consider sponsoring the Ghana Premier League. Nilante made the call during the launch of the 41st Swag Awards launch in Accra.
MTN is sponsoring the Zambian League. MTN is sponsoring other leagues across Africa. And we'll ask them to do more for the development of our sport. Football is a brand that sells, and I'm sure as much as MTN understands the benefits of marketing brands, I'm sure that joining up with our football will push them higher than where they've gotten to.
Meanwhile, officials of MTN say should a proposal be submitted, they will consider. The corporate service executive of MTN, Mrs. Cynthia Lumo, explains further.
There are a lot of things that MTN already sponsors. As you know, we sponsor the FA Cup. There are several golf tournaments that we sponsor. There is a team currently that we sponsor. I could go on and on. Obviously, we can't do it all. But like I said, we consider all proposals that come to us with the necessary attention it deserves. So if and when we get a formal proposal, we will look at it and revert.
Should this move materialize, it will be a huge relief to clubs as they struggle to pay players and staff and live up to their corporate social responsibilities. The national wheelchair racing team is close to picking a ticket to the Rio Paralympic Games. The team won 4 gold medals at the just ended Desert Challenge in the USA. The event was serving as the qualifiers for Rio Paralympics.
Ghana's wheelchair racing team, made up of 3-time Paralympian Bocho Nkegbe and Macklin Jujonu, made Ghana proud in the USA during the Desert Challenge, a tournament that served as qualifiers for this year's Rio Paralympics. The duo won 4 gold medals in the 100 meters, 200 meters and 400 meters and the T53 class competitions. The two have presented their medals to their patron, Dosu Manche, New Okwe Kandowuna, at his palace in Nosu. He urged them to strive for the ultimate.
The National Ministry of Sports Council, I can get a man here, stadium any or there. Okay, what tracks are we able to go with it? I can name a banana. Maybe banana with okay, what she name you have a question, Olympic Games, no Commonwealth Games, no the private games, any organize your here by here.
Macklin Jujonu and Bocho Nkegbe shared their experiences.
I participated in 100 meters, 200 meters and 400 meters, and I won all the gold medals. But the fortunate thing was that I was left with the seconds to make the real time. The real time is 15 seconds, 50 microseconds, and I made 16 seconds, 26 seconds. So I'm just left with a seconds to the real qualification.
I'm back home in Ghana, try to make myself, prepare myself again, because I heard that the NPC and the Sports Authority want to have lined up some couple of events. So I'm now be going to Switzerland, God willing, next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I might be leaving the country to the Swiss Open and hopefully to hit the A standard. And if it happens, it's going to be a history-making 4th-time Paralympian.
With other international qualifiers around the corner, the two are hoping to break the 10 seconds barrier to pick tickets for the Rio Games.
So the Premier League enters March Day 13 this weekend and will bring you fixtures across the country. And we start off by going straight to Sugar Coffee, where Wafa will be taking on Techiman City at the Obuasi Lenkler Stadium as Ash Gold welcoming Wa All Stars. Kumasi at the Barbara Sports Stadium. Kotoko will lock horns with Inter Allies at Brekum. Brekum Chelsea then plays Bechin United. At second D, Hazakis will take on Dwarfs, and Doma, Idiana Stars will battle Accra Hearts of Oak. Dansoman Liberty Professionals takes on New Edubiasen, and at Dewu Dreams FC will welcome Mediama SC.
And thanks for joining us for News Hour. We'll be back at 10:30 with News Tonight.
Have a good evening.